So I want to present with you something very radical, maybe extreme. But I would say that suffering comes from meaning, from purpose, from achieving, from becoming, from thinking that this moment right now is not how it should be. It needs to be better. It needs to be different than what it is. And so I'm trying to change it. I want it to be more, whatever it is, really. And I'm sure that you've been in circumstances where you thought it was everything. You were having an experience and you felt good. And maybe you told yourself that you were happy and that you were free and, oh, I made it. But then all of a sudden came the seed of thought, right? Interpretation. And it said, this is not enough anymore, right? It needs to be better. And then what we all try to do is that we move on to the next thing. We're like, well, only if I do this or get this, or you know what? It could actually be better, right? My mind is right. It could be better. You see, your mind is no different than you because the you is the mind. Who you think you are is the mind. You are the mind itself in this illusion that we call life, that we call experience, that we call I know, I think, therefore I am. Who you think you are is really just a story. It's just a story. A story overlaid that it's not actually here present. And the thing is, without a story, you don't actually need to function. The functioning still happens, but it's the story that overlays onto the raw experience. And when I say raw, what exactly do I mean? I mean, there's just an appearance. Everything is arising in your knowing, right? So there's shape, there's movement, there's color, there's sensations, there's sound. When you're eating, there's taste. When you're smelling something, there's smelling. And so all of these senses, right, which they're really part of the body's five senses, which is your sensory experience, and that's what constitutes the physical reality that we live in, physical world, apparently, the solidity of it, but it appears so. But that's really the only thing that raw experience is. And there isn't a meaning, an interpretation that says, this means something about me. This represents who I am. You see, it does represent the fact of who you are if you consider yourself to be your mind or your body, which are really the same thing. The mind interprets and the body feels, or it has sensations. The body is just a concept that the mind puts on it, takes ownership of it, says, this is mine. Why wouldn't it be? It's always with me, right? But who's saying that? And most importantly, who's hearing it, right? Think of your mind as commentary, right? Narration, subtitles on a movie, or even a headset, a virtual reality headset, a video game that you're playing. You're controlling the character, apparently, but you're never inside of the character. If your mind would just be silent or not think for a second, for a split second, there would be no story. There would be no meaning. And this is what I mean when I say that meaning is suffering, because you need to personalize your experience in order for it to mean something about you. And the moment that that happens, you become attached to it or you resist it. And this is the duality that you're playing. This is the contrast that you're creating by saying, I want this and I don't want that. So the moment you want something, you create what I don't want. The moment I don't want something, I create what I do want. So any meaning implies that you're not there yet, that this moment, regardless of how it is, it can be good or bad, which are just more concepts, right? You're judging the moment. You're judging it where it doesn't need to be judged, right? We think that happiness, freedom, joy, love are states or something to get, something to feel, but those are more meanings. And once you define what is happiness or freedom or joy, You say, oh, this is freedom, this is happiness. That puts you away from happiness or joy or freedom because you've made it a thing. You've taken ownership of it. You've given it meaning. You've said, yeah, represents me. I'm a happy person now. I'm joyful. I'm free. Right? And so you've created an identity which doesn't actually exist. And when I mean that it doesn't exist, or even that you are an illusion, points that where exactly is this I? Where exactly is that story? Where exactly is happiness and freedom and joy and all of these concepts and all these stories? I mentioned before that the story doesn't happen in the movie. It happens in your interpretation of the movie. The movie is just raw experience. It's just an appearance appearing within you, within your consciousness. And this is all of your consciousness. The you is happening inside of what you are, which is consciousness. It is that which is aware. It is that which knows, but it holds no personal identity. It has no memory, no past, no meaning. And you may think, okay, if I don't put meaning on anything, then I wouldn't do anything. I couldn't survive without it. Life would just be boring and dull, and I would just be another monk in the woods or in the mountains. But that's not what I'm pointing to. That's just your mind tricking you. It's trying to validate its own ignorance, its own misunderstanding, and say that I need meaning and purpose to do something, which is, it's never really in control. Like I said, your mind is just commentary, it's just narration, an overlay that is never actually found in your direct experience. And that's essentially what I'm pointing to. So, what I recommend is for you to watch your mind, listen to that voice in your head, and actually look within your direct experience and see, is it actually there? Is there actually something wrong in this moment? Does it really need to change for what it is? Right? Because if you're making this moment conditional, then you're never going to be free. Not in terms of the mind, not in terms of conditions and situations and needing the circumstances to be a certain way, because that needing is actually just another illusion. It's actually what makes you suffer. When you need something, you want something, you're basically implying that the way it is right now is not enough. And that's not to say that we still don't take action, that we still don't do things, that we still don't have those experiences that describe what would be called happiness and joy. But those are not states, feelings. They are what you are. So by you looking for it, you're implying the very fact that you are not it. And I just said that you are not the mind or the body. You are that which the body and the mind appears in this very moment. You're the knowing of it. The only thing you know about your body is sensations. The only thing you know about the mind is a voice. It's an interpretation, it's thinking. But this needs to be seen. And it's not being seen by someone, it's being seen by the very scene itself. It's like the screen that watches the movie, but it doesn't judge or resist the movie. It becomes in touch. It's the witness, it's the watcher. It's not a thing. And this may be radical. This may be, it doesn't make sense. Yes, that is part of how the dream works. It doesn't really know. It doesn't really understand. This is really not supposed to make sense to you, because if it does, you're still in that framework that this moment is not enough. And then I'm still trying to get something. Maybe you're trying to awaken. Maybe you're trying to be happy. Maybe you're trying to be at peace. And those are okay if you want to get to those states. But what I'm implying is that, what if this moment is as good as it's going to get? What if it's exactly the way that it needs to be? What if I actually look at the voice, right? Not as a someone, not as a someone. The someone is an idea, it's an imagination. What I'm pointing to is that which is looking, which is seeing this. And that can be directly experienced when you actually stay with this. We can say this moment, this presence, but it has to be beyond these concepts and these words. You don't need words or concepts or imagination or the dream or the movie to simply recognize that this is what you are. And when you are okay with this, then everything else will start to make sense. You'll start to realize that, oh, I didn't really need or want these things as much as I thought I did. They're not part of who I am. They're not part of my identity. And I don't need to suffer or depend on those things. And the meaning that I was putting onto them was completely illusionary. And it was the root of suffering. Funny thing is that the moment you don't put meaning on anything, not only are things much more free and alive and raw and vibrant, but you actually start to experience everything you were seeking for. And it's already here. And it's you. It's before these concepts and these meanings. And it can't be owned. It can't even be wanted, because why would you want something that you are?